You remember that the goal of Eastern wisdom is to bring an end to the suffering, sorrow. That includes fear, insecurity, grief, anxiety, duality, conflict, provided we follow it. And it cannot be achieved by blind belief that I have been telling you again and again. And that is why we have understood temporary means for permanent solution. You have in the second session. You see that a teacher talks about the principle. You listen. And then your mind and intellect starts reflecting on it. So when you reflect on these principles, the intellect begins taking over the mind. Do you know what is this known as? This is known as purely blessing and the grace. There is another way to receive blessing and the grace. Go to a religious place, close your eyes. God, bless me. The moment you close your eyes, God also closes his eyes. He said, I'm not listening to you. I'm not seeing. To be very clear. And that is why we have seen great people have said, those who do not help themselves, God even doesn't help. So I believe you all are seekers and you have understood previous topics, and especially the last one, four goals and the confusion. So, what is the conclusion of the last week principle and the talk? Or you can say, what is an extension of that? Desire, delusion, destruction. I'm using three words. Psychology of desire, delusion, and destruction in our day to day life. What is desire? So we define and understand desire as something, seeking something other than me. If the John starts seeking something other than himself, that is the first understanding of a desire. Why I seek something other than me? Because I don't feel a sense of completeness in me. That is why I want to feel the sense of completeness. I want to feel happy. I want to be in peace if I seek something outside. Clear? Seeking, whether it is object or a person or a wealth or a phone or a house, will make me happy. But none of them contain happiness. I can tell you frankly, if you say that your mind is wandering, mind is crazy, it is only because of this. Think of it. So, from the first statement that the desire is seeking something other than me, what is other than me? It may be a person, it may be an object, it may be a house, it may be a phone. Second thing, before the mind seeks, before the mind desires, it has already projected happiness outside. And then our mind continues to run throughout the life until death. And that is one of the greatest delusion the man has. Are you getting it? So we can conclude that we are seeking something and projecting happiness in the objects outside where it is not. I project happiness, or you can say I reflect happiness. This is the wrong notion, wrong idea, wrong notion, wrong idea, wrong projection. Mind thinks that it will make me happy. I am single. I see beautiful couple at far. They seem to be hugging each other, kissing each other. That's why they are happy. So, do you see that? In our country, it is very common, hugging and kissing. You know how happy the couple is. They may be hugging for different reasons. So then my mind says, I'm single. That is why I'm unhappy. So let me get married. How many married people are happy? We don't think about it. That is what I told you, that if we do not think, I do not receive the blessing and the grace from. This is what our master says. So when we put the wrong reason, it is delusion, it is illusion, and mind starts running, never stops throughout life. Then intellect questions. One guy is single, he got married, and after a few months and years, I'm still frustrated. So intellect questions. So I'm not exposed to the Eastern wisdom. Oh, this, my partner is the cause of unhappiness. So let me leave him or her to find another. That is what our dear friend is doing. I don't want to name, but you already know. He is not exposed to the Eastern wisdom. Maybe a genius. So now see, the delusion leads to destruction, frustration, fear, failure, fight, fright, flight. They all belongs to stress response in modern psychology. Huh? Fear, flight, fright, failure, frustration. Now, if you tell this guy, forget about the object and the people outside, first find out where is the location of peace and happiness. If the location of peace and happiness is an object or a person, then what? Then everyone will chase that person because happiness lies there. And ask through observation, is that person really happy? That is the blessing and the grace. Because if I open to the secret of Eastern wisdom, then they are absorbed in our mind. Now, the mind is running because of the desire. You start examining any thought. Either you have certain fears, frustration, and anxiety over an object. Are you frustrated by yourself? Because you are seeking something. So, in the next week, we will understand again. I have covered that, but this comes from the Gita. So I need to cover. There are 8 factors that causes the problems, worries, suffering in life. So I'm just putting up uh, the introduction of this. So desire, delusion, distraction, mind. Because what is distraction? Mind is constantly running, seeking happiness in object, in peace. I met 2 millionaires recently. They started a private session. They are good friends. They are doing this session separately. So after doing possibly 8 and 9 sessions, so they are quite young, in their maybe in their 40s. So one guy asked me, "Is it possible to do the sessions together?" I said, "Why not?" So how much you will charge? I said, "Add up." Is there no discount? I said, "No. Perhaps there may be little more charge." And then I asked, I said, "Okay, we will decide it later, but tell me, you go to the restaurant, you spend hundreds of dollars. You get a pleasure for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Here we are discovering permanent peace and happiness, and still you want to negotiate. I know if you don't have it, I can do something." You see, the mind is engaged. What he told me will amaze you. If I could save the money, why shouldn't I? It becomes easy for me to understand your mind. So your mind is already running somewhere else, and you are learning Eastern wisdom. And this, I can make out it. So it's good. That is the way the life works. So that is why the mind is running, running, and running. What I have. So this running leads to a psychosomatic connection, the mind body connection. So when the mind is seeking something outside, it is already agitated. It also agitates the body. And if that habit pattern is formed, science says 90% of our illnesses are psychosomatic in origin. Psycho means body. Huh? Now, psycho means mind, somatic means body. Mind body connection. I am not keeping mind and body together in harmony. It begins with the mind. I am storing those impressions or projections of happiness outside, and these impressions triggers in my mind, and they are wonderful. One of them wanted to see me personally, so he came from too far. He spent about 2 hours. "No, I just want to see you." When he came to my house, he said, "I want to hug you." I said, "Okay, hug me." That is the attitude. Now, the master says, "Now, do you have a question in your mind?" That what do you mean? If I don't have a desire, how can I live? I have a desire for house to live in. I have a desire for money to make my living better, meet my physical needs, buy clothes, have a car, necessity. So here the master clears, understand that part. So that you should have a desire and you should not have a desire. So the master says you can categorize desire into a binding desire and unbinding desire. What is unbinding desire? I desire wealth for meeting basic necessities. Unbinding. It will not bind you because you are not projecting happiness there. I desire to have a home. Have it. But if you convert a home into a mansion, why mansion? Because happiness. The moment you have added a value which is not there. If you add a value in any object, in any person which is not there, that is known as attachment. Did you understand that? Honey, I have been loving you for so many years, but you don't love me. So it means my honey is an object of love. He or she has he or she has their own challenges and the problems in the mind, and you are still forcing that spouse, that honey, give me love. If you don't give me love, then I will show you what I can do. What I can do, I can fall into delusion and I can destroy myself. Did you understand the two part? The desire, unbinding desire, binding desire. In binding desire, mind adds value which is not there. How it adds value? Every time we look ourselves before the mirror, we find we are the handsome and most beautiful person in this world. We are adding value. That is why I have a beard. I cannot see my full face. You have added value is not working. Why added value? I project it, I dream it, I have a wrong notion. I'm beautiful, except, you see, your mind, when you add value, you might be thinking, I bet you. Don't tell me, but just recall. You're looking yourself into the mirror. You say, I'm beautiful, but anyhow, had my nose been little slim, like a parrot, I would have been the most beautiful person. I can bet you we all think like this. So you see, binding desire, unbinding desire, filter it. When all the time in a waking state. So when you drop this binding desires, tell me, is your mind still running crazy? Mind will not become crazy. Then mind will live in reality. It says, this is what I have. I have to work. I'm working. Let me continue to work to sustain my livelihood. So you are doing your work. You are thinking of your profession or a business. You are thinking of relationship, all with the unbinding desire. Not that after listening the Eastern wisdom, you get this sense we all have at in particular things we follow unbinding desire. Sometimes we have a couple relationship, a husband or a wife. They say, okay, let me endure, he or she is fine. I need not to fight. I need not to enter into a conflict, even if my partner has conflict. You see, they have the sense of unbinding desire. Sometimes you have the unbinding desire and that attitude in your business, in your profession. One of my friend here says, I have a, what is this? Toyota Prius. That is hybrid. I like this. Why don't you buy it? I said, don't impose on me what I buy and what I should buy. But on the other hand, she thinks very good. It gives 60, 70, or perhaps 80 miles a gallon on average. So she is very good in thinking that. But then she has a binding desire. I've already told you. I need not to. So you see that is the word of caution. So never think that our master says don't desire. Desire. But so what should I do in order to filter out binding and the unbinding desire? First is listen to the principles of Eastern wisdom. That is what the master says. And that is what the tradition is. I had another incident. This guy has been more or less has been regular in doing a session over the last almost 10 years. Very genius, very intelligent, good businessman. But still he doesn't want to leave. Day before yesterday, on Monday, I gave him a lesson. He said, this is what you told me 10 years ago, and now I'm getting it. I said, who is to blame? Who is to blame? So now I understand. It becomes a play and fun to do my business. I'm now having a fun and play in my relationship. And then he told me I went on vacation only for my honey and the kid. But internally, I'm happy. I need not to go on vacation. I'm playing my role. But this I realized after so many years. What is the message? You can remove the delusion from today, here and now, by filtering out binding and the unbinding desire. Then you are not flying in your life, you are totally grounded all the time. And knows I had a humble rented house in North Brunswick. I think, Sophie didn't come to that house. You came to that small rented house. I used to have a private sessions of Anne and Paul and other people. I used to tell all my members of the family, keep quiet. It was a small house. You know how to filter out your binding and unbinding desire. That comes by listening and learning. Listening and learning. So I have repeated the third chapter of the same Gita. We are in the second chapter. So I picked up the principle, psychology of desire, delusion, and destruction, and then we will understand in the next session what are the 8 factors. If you examine these 8 factors, and allow the eight factors to go away from your mind, you will be in happiness and peace here and now. Nobody can ever disturb you. So, the first thing is listening and learning these principles. Why listening and learning? Some people take 10 years. I was full. It took me almost more than that. But once you get it, it is irreversible. Your intellect chases you if the mind puts an added value to anything in this world. Are you clear about giving added value? And you give value to everything that it deserves. You're before your honey, you are a wife or a husband. You give value that a husband or a wife deserves. Means what? Let me play my role, perform my role to the best of my understanding. The relationship will continue. If you are a seeker, the other may be frustrated, but you will always be happy because you are giving a value that a person deserves. But if you give added value, honey, for the last 10 years, you don't love me, then why the hell you are with him or her? So this listening clears your intellect, the first thing. Second thing, you understand the principle. Second thing, that now these principles are your own because you have started thinking in that way. From today, check in your relationship. Have you given more value than it deserves to a person, to an object, to a house? Oh, what a dirty house I'm living in. I have given added value. What the house is meant for. Whatever the house is. House is for to protect myself, to protect the body. Do you see that? You will love your house. You will hate your body if you say, oh, my nose should be like this. Let me go for a plastic surgery. And I can tell you it is a fact in New Jersey. This women negotiated very hard. I love you, Acharya. I love you, sir. So you have to charge me less. One thing, one aspect of her attitude. Second aspect, she always has a problem that her husband is not able to pay the mortgage of her house, which around $3,000 to $4,000 a month. I don't want to tell you in which location she lives in New Jersey. Two things. And one, the next week when she came, I say, you look so beautiful. Yes, I had a facial surgery. I spent $15,000. This is a fact. This is the truth. I don't want to tell you the name because of a privacy issue. And she used to cry before me that, look at, my husband is not able to pay the mortgage. That is why it takes 10 years. That is the fact. You cannot guide, but you continue teaching. So better you start filtering out binding desire with the unbinding. Start thinking in that way. Let me give you another tip. The moment you have a sense of anxiety and hesitation, it is because of the binding desire. Make it sure. Is it not enough? Is it not so easy to think of it? Don't you become aware the moment you have anxiety, hesitation, you have already given added value to an object, to a thing, to a person, to an event. And that is why the mind is agitated and anxious and angry. And after that, only practice is required. So once you have a clarity, you have clear understanding, then we need to practice, my friends. And once we practice, the past impression that is stored in our mind, they get erased. I've been telling you again, so I will open it. Why I gave an example of this woman, that person who is still with me. Now he is so happy. He said, no, no, I don't worry. The money that I spent. But now I know that I should have realized 10 years before. But he was laughing. That is why we say Eastern wisdom is an open secret. What are you saying? Secret and open? I'm summarizing now the entire Eastern wisdom. So, what is the meaning of the secret? The secret means that it is known only to the few. Yeah. If Sophie tells me some secret and we both share, or I and John we share and we don't tell anyone, so it is known as a secret. But when we say it is an open secret, what it means? It is here and now. Why it is an open secret? It is an open secret for the seekers. If you are a qualified seeker, it is open to you. Now see the other part. The entire journey of the Eastern wisdom, we say the knowledge of the reality is revealed in meditation. Revealed. I was talking to Anne yesterday. Do you remember Anne? Revealed. Revealed means what? It is veiled now. It will be revealed in meditation. It is veiled by whom? It is veiled by the ignorance in my mind. It is present here and now. Peace, happiness, love, and wisdom in me, that is my nature, and I exist, it is already present here. Are you getting it? But I don't see it. It is here and now. I don't see it. So when I don't see it, that is why we say awakening takes place in meditation. We don't say, I awaken to the knowledge of physics. We say, I awaken to real self. I awaken to chemistry. I awaken to the knowledge of biology. We don't say, it's a wrong statement, because knowledge of biology exists outside. Peace exists within me, permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. But I don't know yet. So when I don't know yet means what? It is veiled. It is hidden. Curtain is there. What is that curtain? That is what we say ignorance. And how the ignorance takes place? Because of the binding desire. Are you clear step by step? If you have any doubt, tell me. See the clarity in our my honey, I will keep lying on the bed. My honey will come and love me. Projection. I'm binding this. Uh, you, we have those ideas in our mind. I extended a little bit more, but we have those unconscious habits. You may agree, you may not agree. And this woman, I still love her. And she told me, why I went for a surgery. Because my husband should not chase other women. This is a fact in the reality. I don't want to tell the name. Anne has met couple of times. Unnecessary, unwanted thoughts that creates a desire, and we have a binding desire, and that binding desire keeps my mind running in a wrong direction. This is what the delusion that destroys my life. This is what the Eastern wisdom says. Now is the time to do the practice. I